Recording.
And we are in Slovenia now. Where are we, Danijel? Danijel from Nolito.
We are in northern part of the capital, Ljubljana. So we are, Slovenia is very small. You can try to find somewhere near the area of Yugoslavia, perhaps somewhere like this. Yeah, so
more or less.
From the northern Adriatic, so we are like the most northern former Yugoslav Republic, and Ljubljana is the capital. So I'm representing No Limits Tours. So we are the only company that does this kind of accessible tourism in Slovenia. We started 4 years ago in 2016. So the CEO of the company is Miha. He's not in Ljubljana at the moment. So two of us are buddies now for 14 years. We are both also tourist guides now for almost a decade. And Miha's father started the company with the minibus transfers already in the Yugoslav period in the 80s. And over the course of time, many of these vans were also adapted for the needs of the wheelchair users. So then we decided, like, okay, we have the vans. For the disabled, we have a lot of experience in tourism. So we made like some kind of a cooperation agreement with one firm, like a social firm in Slovenia that mainly helps the disabled people. So we started working in accessible tourism in 2016. Our co-worker Anže, who is a wheelchair user, more or less started checking all the possible tourist attractions around Slovenia, and later on also in the one part of Italy, Croatia. We checked, like, I think almost 50 hotels in Slovenia and Croatia as well. So we wanted to make sure that everything is accessible for the wheelchair users. So also one of our mottos is known just like 100% accessible, because we know that how much it is important for the wheelchair users that the hotels are fine and accessible, and also all the tourist attractions that we visit are they can enjoy as much as all the other basically people that travel and enjoy the tourism actually.
Cool. Then shall we start your tour? Shall I put the...
Let's start our tour. And I think we have first, okay, so yeah, that's me. I like these fluffy animals, foxes, cats, dogs, so that's why we also send this as a profile picture. And me and Eleonora, we are cat lovers both. So we share our cat photos as well. So I think now there will be a few photos of me working with tourists as well. So this photo was taken in the capital, Ljubljana, one of the main squares. So this is one of the photos of the International Tourist Guide Day, when we do every year some free tours. So with these photos also, it's not just like me working with tourists, but also we wanted to show like how the flats are, how flat are all the squares in the capital of Ljubljana. So this is the Congress Square. This is a little bit older photo from 2017. One of our first guests. They were from Republic of Austria, our neighbors, because they are landlocked. So they came to Slovenia and primarily spent their time on the seaside. The photo was taken in the city of Izola. And they also spent some time in the neighboring town of Piran. So they were one of our first guests. So, and this is little working from the Bled Castle. Bled is probably the most known tourist attraction. The photo is from the castle overlooking the lake. So far the castle is still not wheelchair accessible, but they were planning to make like some kind of a funicular or a lift next year, but probably now, because of the situation, it will probably be prolonged to 2022 or something, but they are having some plans to make it also more accessible for the wheelchair users, and it's really a place which is visited by like 600,000 people per year, so a very nice place. So hopefully it will also be accessible.
Okay, this is what you see in all the famous photos of Bled, because in all the photos of Bled Lake there is this little island in the middle, and
Yes,
this is the castle that you see in the photo. This is
yes.
on the island.
Yes, so like island is on my left now, so you can have a really beautiful view of the lake and also the villas and the Trigal National Park, the Alps, all from the castle. So hopefully it will soon be also accessible for the
But you
wheelchair
can
users.
go by boat. There is an accessible boat to get
Uh,
to the island, or
there is there is a boat, but I wouldn't really recommend. Like, okay, you can do if you have like some light impairment, but for example, like those who are electric wheelchair users, there's no chance to do it because they are like wooden boats, and it will be very difficult. So perhaps with the normal one, but we'll see how it will be going, because with these boats it's all private owned by the families who live there in Bled. So for them it's more tougher for them to convince them to do something about it, like to convince the municipality. And also the castle is also run by the National Museum in Ljubljana, so also a little bit easier to somehow motivate them to do something about the castle than for the island.
okay, but let's say that once the castle maybe is accessible, then it's interesting also for the people who have the boat. Maybe
Yes.
one boat can be adapted, because then it makes sense that the whole place is accessible. But I know you do, I know you do diving lessons in the
Exactly. Yes. So we do diving as well. Yes. So we have two options for the diving. One is here in the Bled Lake, which you mentioned, and the other one is on this small Adriatic Sea. We have 46 kilometers of the seaside.
in that little bit, but it's enough to do
Little
diving.
bit, yeah, a little bit between Croatia and Italy. Yeah.
But what would you
So you
say
can dive from Croatia and go out in Italy, for example.
if you're very but what would you say it's better? I mean, I asked Mika when we met in Berlin a couple of weeks ago, what is it like diving in a lake?
Honestly, I'm not an expert because I'm not diving, so I think Mika knows better this, so I wouldn't say anything. So
Okay. Because I
I
was
didn't
very
try it yet.
curious, what do you see in a lake when you're, I mean, it's
At the moment, it wouldn't be good to go to Bled Lake for diving because it's completely red. Now these plants have gone out in the spring, and now because of the coronavirus, they're not doing anything about it. So now it's really not in a good condition. So I now definitely no diving
why is it red?
because the communists poisoned it.
I saw that on Facebook, but I didn't believe the
Yeah,
story.
it's like these plants are going out like in the
Oh,
second part of February and in the early March. So usually municipality does something about it, but now they have other things hands full with other stuff. So
okay, so it's
said yesterday that they will try to do something about it with some volunteers and so on. People are cleaning it, but like, if you only have volunteers, they can't get the job done.
okay. So it's normal. It happens every year that these
Every year, but usually by March it ends usually. So this year is a little bit stranger than usual. Yeah.
Okay. And where are we
Okay.
now?
We are again in Ljubljana, close to the place where the photo of the fox was taken. So this is the town square, near one of the oldest parts of the medieval Ljubljana. So that's why we also send this photo. You can see how flat it is. So because Ljubljana really, in the period from 2015 to 2018, got the two Access City Awards. First, the Bronze Access City Award, and then also the Silver Access City Award, because really, like, majority of the old part and the center is really well accessible for the wheelchair users. Almost all museums and galleries are accessible for wheelchair users. There are a lot of toilets which are accessible for the wheelchair users. So really, like, when it comes to Ljubljana, it's I would say really almost a paradise when it comes to the accessibility. Yeah.
Are there many public toilets, or because if we were
When it comes to the public toilets which are accessible for the wheelchair users, like you have one on the Ljubljana Castle, One is on one of the bridges in the old part of the town, the Butcher's Bridge. There is one quite close to this place, like it's called Pogačar Square, near the main cathedral. And you also have one on the Congress Square. That is the photo which we showed at the beginning when I was with these tourists. So yeah, there are quite a lot toilets which are accessible for
What
the
about in
same.
the restaurants? When you go to a restaurant, because in Brussels the restaurants are pretty old, especially in the center, so they have really small toilets. They're never accessible.
Uh, yeah, I would say like it's not perfectly made because majority of the tourist attraction are in this medieval part of the town or in the part of the town which was built in the modern era. So yeah, it's same like in Brussels. I think yeah, these are old buildings from the Habsburg period. But there's like one at the end of this square. If you go just straight some 500 meters, it's called like the Second Violin, and they have actually toilet which is accessible
So this
for the
is a
wheelchair
restaurant.
users.
It's a restaurant.
Yeah, restaurant. Yeah, but like to be honest, also Ljubljana is much smaller than Brussels. So if you are in the old part of the town or in the center, one of these accessible toilets is usually just a few minutes away. So it's not that big distances that you have to hold on. But so it's like I would say quite well managed.
Okay. And can you tell us your favorite restaurant which is also accessible, wheelchair accessible, and with
It's called the Druga Violina or the Second Violin. It's like because it's located near the musical academy. So it's also like a social, like something like a restaurant which is for which employs people who have visual impairment and also some other disabilities. And it's one of the restaurants which actually also has like more normal prices in the town, not just made for rich foreigners. So that's why also it's very nice. They have good cuisine, both international and local cuisine, and what is most important, of course, wheelchair accessible toilets.
Super, super. Then we put it in our top tips guide. So
exactly.
This is the Butcher's Bridge.
This is the Pershare Square and the Triple Bridge.
The Triple Bridge.
So like this Triple Bridge and the Pershare Square is like something like the main square in Ljubljana, like some Grand Plaza, I think, in Brussels, like, or Tiananmen Square or whatever. So this is like the main meeting point where the tours usually start or they finish. So this is like also the Triple Bridge, one of the main city attractions. It was more or less modified by the architect Plečnik. So the central bridge was built back in the Habsburg period in 19th century, but then because of the traffic, carriages, cars, the trams, it just became too tight, and then the other two bridges on the right and the left were added between the First and the Second World War, and it became the main tourist attraction. And what is also very nice to see here, that since 2007, it's completely basically no cars, no traffic, nor whatever. So it's strictly a pedestrian zone since the year 2007. Only in the morning, if you wake up with a chicken and go something when they have to deliver the goods, but usually it's almost no traffic here in this part of the city.
Is there a boat tours on the river?
There's actually too much boat tours in Ljubljana because like our river Ljubljanica is not really like Volga or whatever. It's small river. So we have I think like 15 or something these people who offer a ride with the boat. So sometimes it's even too much boats, but there are some on the Butcher's Bridge, some 500 meters from this square, which also have the boat ride. So like we can put like the wheelchair user down with the lift, put him down to the river, and then also to the boat. So it's also possible for them to enjoy the boat rides.
But is it really cool to do a boat ride, or is it a short?
It depends really. Like for me, actually, I was beginning a little bit skeptical, but when I started doing it, it's actually quite nice, especially in the summer period, because in summer it's really warm, you know, sometimes even 35. And then when you go down to the boat, and then you have a ride with the boat, it's immediately some 4 degrees colder. So it's actually quite good. The ride usually takes about 45 minutes, but if you have time, you can also speak to the captain if he can prolong it to the 1 hour, or also he can shorten it to half an hour. It just depends what the group wants. You can just join some other individuals, or also rent both for private boat ride.
Cool, cool. Oh, Christmas?
Like one of the photos I just sent, like which I made before this outbreak of the coronavirus. So this is like in late September. So Ljubljana is also like quite cool for the Christmas market. We don't have that much snow lately, I have to say, but these decorations like for the Christmas market, they are quite cool. It's okay, not exactly Zagreb who got all these awards for the Christmas market, but it's also good because it's smaller and more compact, and you can really enjoy it. So that's like one of the photos just which I made in December, like when there were lights, Christmas lights turned on.
Looks really, really nice. What's the special Christmas cake?
Actually, like in Ljubljana, it's like you have like the things what they offer. It's like a little bit mixture of Balkan and Central European cuisine. So from the Central European, you usually have this like mulled wine, some pancakes as well. And also when it comes to this Balkan influence, we have mostly this grilled meat they are serving, and also this like rakia or something. Some people also take this tea with rum or whatever. So it's like combination of influences from former Yugoslavia and also Central Europe, what you get on these stands near the river and in the old part of the town.
Lovely. Oh, where are you? This is Bled.
Yeah, we are back in Bled now, so I will just tell a little bit about the Alpine Slovenia. Slovenia is not really that big country. We can get really in 2 hours from the Alps to the seaside. So to Bled, we can get in less than 1 hour from the capital of Ljubljana. That's why it's also that much popular with the tourists. So this main promenade at the lake, it's completely accessible for the wheelchair users. Okay, you cannot really go all around for 4 kilometers around the lake, but this place where it's like most touristic, where the restaurants are, where the bars are, cafeterias, the entire promenade is completely accessible. So this is me and my co-worker Anže when we did a little bit of the inspection trip, and above us this is this castle which we showed at the beginning of the PowerPoint presentation.
It is very high up. Now I see.
Yeah, it's quite high up, yeah, because these like bishops of bricks and put it as high as possible, so like unhappy peasants or invading army have problem capturing. So yeah, that's why it was very high. More than 1,000 years old, and the best preserved castle in Slovenia for sure.
Lovely. Wait, let's go ahead. Oh yes.
And now you have to try this, so so you don't keep yours. So you'll be even more hungry during the presentation. So this is this famous Bled vanilla cream slice. So one guy from Vojvodina, that's today northern Serbia, he came in the 1950s to Bled, and he made this special cake, I think, in 1953, and then it's like constantly became the main most known Slovenian national dessert. So when you are in Bled, one thing you have to try. So every year they are making really like millions of these cakes. So this is one thing you have to try for sure. So Bled vanilla cream slice, make sure you don't forget it. You can get it also in Ljubljana and some other cities, but the best one definitely you have to try it in some of the places in Bled.
But is it still the same? Is it still the same company that? No.
Yeah, actually, like this cafeteria Bled, which started making it, actually still have the recipe, and the place where they make the first one back in 1953, it's still working. Just now it's like much bigger than it was before. Yeah.
Cool, but then we have to add that to the guide as well, because you can
definitely
go and it's like a cafeteria, so you can taste it there, or you can buy
it.
home.
You can try it in cafeteria of the hotel park, but you can actually get it in every place in Bled. So like that was where the first one was made, but you can buy it more or less everywhere.
Okay, but it comes from the area of Vojvodina. That's funny.
Vojvodina, yeah. North Serbia towards Hungarian border, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yum yum.
Oh, where are we?
So we are continuing in the Alpine region. So this is the biggest natural lake in Slovenia. It's called Lake Bohinj. Something about half an hour drive from Bled, 1 hour 20 minutes drive from Ljubljana. And I personally like it much more than Bled because it's really intact nature. It's also part of the Triglav National Park. Less capitalistic, less consumeristic, less people here. So really, if you want to relax your soul, the Triglav National Park and the proximity of the Bohinj Lake is really a great place to relax your souls. And as you see, you are already high in the Julian Alps, also quite close to the Italian and Austrian border already. So these are the Julian Alps on the other side of the Bohinj Lake. So usually when we make this the excursion, we try to combine Bled and Bohinj Lake, and if there is enough time and if the guests wish to, then we take the funicular up to the Vogel Mountain, which we are just now. So like in just 8 minutes you come with the cable car, the funicular, and you cross about 1,000 meters. So this was like one of the first Yugoslav funiculars made like some 60 years ago. And really from here you have you can see the entire Bohinj Lake, the Julian Alps, and also the ski slopes on the Vogel Mountain, which are only a couple of minutes away from the funicular station.
And so it's really wheelchair accessible?
Yeah, completely. So we went there sometimes with smaller groups. Once we took even groups from like one group from Israel, there were 40 of them, and we managed to okay, you have to do it 2 times because they were all in the wheelchairs. But yeah, it's wheelchair accessible. No worry about that.
Cool.
Very nice view as well. And then like the last thing in the Julian Alps, in the Alpine, which we sometimes do, is the zip line. So for example, I never did it, but my co-worker Andrzej, who is a wheelchair user, he did it a couple of times already when we tried to do it. So Planica is like also like a little bit more than 1 hour from Ljubljana. This is the place where they have the ski flying competition every year, except this year, of course. So like it's like probably the most famous ski flying facility in the world. So at the place where they are flying more than 250 meters, these ski flyers, you can also do the zip line. So it is really good if you want to raise up your adrenaline. So as you see, like wheelchair users can enjoy it as well as anybody else.
Wow.
Okay, and then because we basically we're most focused now on the north and northwest of Slovenia. So just to add something from the east part, okay, just to finish, sorry, like on my left, so like you have Andrzej behind there's the cannon. So this is the Ljubljana Castle as well.
This is the cannon. Are you trying to tell him something?
Yeah, I wanted to put him on a good position and then say, shoot. So like, yeah, the castle is really cool. You can get it to the castle with the funicular. Also, you can get it with the car, of course, and then enter like through this old city castle gates. But you can also just come with the funicular if you are like tourists are not having a car. So one part of the castle is accessible. This part, which is like medieval, of course, you can't modify, but we deliberately showed this photo. So like you have this guy in the green jacket So on my left, you have also the small entrance where the glass is. So this takes you to the Puppet Museum. The Puppet Museum is the most modern part of the Ljubljana Castle, renovated a little bit more than 3 years ago. And that one is 100% accessible. You have another elevator, one elevator taking you there, and another elevator taking you from one platform to another. And it's really cool. You can play with the toys. You can enter into this puppet stuff. So this puppetry has a long history in the former Yugoslavian area. So that's why they also made the puppet museum on the castle. And because it's something new, it was made also 100% accessible for the wheelchair users. You can also check out the main plateau of the castle. It's completely flat, and also some other parts of the castle. And as I mentioned also earlier, there is a toilet there which is accessible for the wheelchair users, so you don't need to go down with the funicular and try to find a wheelchair accessible toilet. You can use it already on the castle. And then this is like the photo when we were doing like one TV show for the Slovenian national television for the so how is it called, like Let's Go Somewhere Nicer. It's that is the name of the show. So we were doing like show what is the wheelchair accessible, and like one of the things that people were really surprised is a accessible mine in the town of Velenje, that is northwest from Ljubljana, also not that far away, little bit more than 1 hour. So this is the oldest mine that is still working in Slovenia, opened by the Habsburgs 200 years ago, still functioning now, and also for the last decade made accessible for the wheelchair users. So it's really cool. It is really a unique experience. You can feel how the workers were working there in the Habsburg period, in the Yugoslav period, in the modern era. And when the tour is finished, you also get a minor snack, so you can see what was the food that the miners were eating. Probably a little bit better than what they actually had, but that is the general idea.
Yeah. Oh, where are we?
And like this is Pirano, or Pirano in the Italian name. So also, like as I said, Slovenia is not that big. Also, you can get in 1.5 hours from Ljubljana to Piran, like with the car in 1 hour 10 minutes. So like this is like we are calling it the Slovenian Venice by the nickname Piran, because you really have the beautiful Venetian architecture in the city, because the Venetians ruled it for more than 500 years. So this is the place, the picture from the main square, the Tartinis square. And also above it is the church of St. George. So for some wheelchair users, it's even possible to go there for the last 2 years, because they made a couple of ramps. So with the help of the assistant, you can also go on top and check, also have a beautiful view. So when you go up on the Church of St. George, it's really beautiful. Really, you look on the left, you have Croatian part of Istria. You look on the right, and you already have Italy and the Italian part of Istria and Trieste. And sometimes, really, when the weather is nice, you can see it even from Piran, the Julian Alps. So it's really one of my favorite places in Slovenia. The main squares like Tartini Square and First May Square are 100% accessible. And just behind the town hall, the building which you see here, where the flags are, you have already there one accessible toilet for the wheelchair users, and another one on the near the main bus station. So that has also been taken care of for the needs of the wheelchair users.
Wonderful! Wow, you took us on a full tour of Slovenia.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like these are like the main things what we offer, and like more or less the most popular tourist attractions. Other things what we offer as well are skiing for the disabled. We are doing it on 2 locations. One in Kranjska Gora, that is close to Planica, close to Italian and Austrian border, and also on the mountain of Rogla, that is northeast. If you go towards Maribor and Austria, so we also offer that. Other things that are popular, of course, are the caves. We have thousands of caves.
Oh, stop. We had to do a bucket list of 3 items. You've taken us all over Slovenia.
Enough. Okay, no more. And also some other stuffs which I will not talk about anymore. Okay.
We keep something for the future, for the next one.
At the end, you didn't hear anything. Okay.
After the
like
third,
Ivan Kenobi, delete just. So this is like a little bit of what we offer. Yeah.
This is wonderful, Danijel. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon in Slovenia.
Hope to. All the best. Greetings for our friends, all partners all around the world. Also for those who are just listening to this show. Stay strong. Keep your morale high, and stay healthy. Was the most important in these days.
Wonderful. Thank you, Danijel. See you soon.
Adio. Ciao. Na svidanje.
Ciao, ciao.